that's how people were stealing accounts, right? That was a big issue. That's why they switched over to authentication, like proper auth software, like Google Auth and Authy and so on.
YubiKey is a good one. YubiKey is good for two-factor authentication. Yeah, really good.
Apple has also switched to it. Now Apple generates a code, and so it's just to you only. It's not to anybody else, and that's pretty secure.
Mm-hmm. Highly recommend hardware 2FA.
I really hate phone 2FA because I have a bunch of different phone numbers, and it's a real pain in the butt to swap over to the right SIM card just to get the one thing. And if you forget to pay the bill, or if you're in a different country, you can't access it unless you do the roaming thing. And Amazon is really shit about that, because if you call from a different phone number, you try to get a 2FA from a different country, you're just not going to get the number. It's going to block it. So you're basically locked out of your Amazon account, like I was for 2 months. That sucked.
Damn. That would suck.
Yeah, and Amazon is really shitty. It's like if you request, you get on a call with one of these guys, and you're gonna have to pay long distance charges, so that sucks too. And you talk to them, and if you can't figure the whole thing out once, they literally delay you by a month. They say call back next month, and we'll try again. That is how stupid it is. They don't. It's an automated system. You can talk to all the tech guys, even the senior tech guys. I got some senior engineer on the phone, and he's like, I literally cannot do anything about this because this is just how the security set up. It sucks.
It's horrible. Try back in a month.
Yep.
I don't even use Amazon anymore.
Siraj wants to come up, Adrian, if you'd like him up.
No. I think we will leave Siraj in the goo.
I don't see him.
I can see him there.
Ha!
Okay, let nobody up except him and Auto.
Okay.
You want to do split screen, Hillary? Raise your hand. We'll comment real time.
Hilarious. So it's just I'm just doing this, and then I'm in a group chat. These guys are saying, I'm cooking rice, I'm cooking rhymes, and this other guy says, I'm cooking crack with Stairwell Steve. That is fantastic. What the fuck?
That's funny.
Oh my god.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, I was having some interesting conversations in the other space about Apple security and stuff, and then I think I also heard something along the lines of hardware 2FA. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think that's possibly the most secure MFA that we have right now. I use YubiKey.
I use those ones.
Exactly. Yeah, I use YubiKey myself for all the critical apps that I have, including X. I would highly recommend anyone to use YubiKey if security is your priority, or even a good 2FA app. That should be much better.
JCLVR wants a shout out.
SMS is really, really bad. I think Adrian, you also mentioned about the SIM swapping attack, right? Yeah, that's that is something I think people should take very seriously. Because this is
Guys, always take seriously the security.
The swapping attacks, it's more common than people realize. I don't know of. Yeah, I was just saying it's more common than people realize.
Ian said that. Wait, what was that?
Can you hear Siraj or no?
I don't think you can hear him. Can you hear Siraj? Siraj, say something.
Drop and come back. I'll bring you back up, Siraj.
Yeah, just drop and come back. Yeah, I can't see what he's saying now.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, he was explaining how SIM swapping stuff works and how it's not safe, and then you couldn't hear him, so he's got more to say. And we already covered the SIM swapping thing, however, really went through this. There's also this weird thing with so the way that phone lines are done, because phone lines were made in the 1920s. And they had switching, right? They had, what do you call those guys? The switchboard operators back then. that system isn't completely gone. It still exists in like the back end, right? So essentially, you can kind of trick any phone system in the world to that's not digitally upgraded to provide you with information you probably shouldn't have, because every phone line, every SIM card is tied to like an actual physical line, so to speak.
Really?
You can trick it into sending you text messages, and it's pretty easy to get access to that, because a lot of ISPs in like developing nations, they don't really have the security, or they sell this information out to hackers, and that's how they gain access to your stuff.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, he can fucking hear you, Siraj.
Okay. Yeah. Adding to what Ian mentioned. So I don't know if the ISPs actually sell our phone numbers or SIM cards directly to the hackers or something, but it's very much possible that the database is already leaked on the dark web. I mean, people give their phone number to like so many services at this point, and it's I don't know. I don't exactly blame the users, because most users don't even know this is a security issue, right? But it's I would say the companies and the services should be more responsible with the user data, like how they handle PII like phone number. Because I mean, we use phone number for everything, and especially in the US, even the banking system is kind of broken in terms of security. Like, we still have SMS authentication for banks. Can you believe it? So if
it's dumb.
yeah, so if our SIM gets compromised, they can technically get access to the 2FA code of the bank.
Chicken Hillary, what are you calling me for? I'm recording on that phone right
I
now.
have like a few banks there, and they switched over from SMS like this year. Starting this year, they're all moving over to digital authentication. No more SMS. They're getting rid of it. Yeah. Wow. And that's already the case in the UAE, where pretty much I don't know about all banks, but the ones I deal with here, there's no phone authentication. They actually use the UAE ID, so that's your authentication. you can't fake that shit. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's really secure.
Yeah, I would also add on updating the apps. So I use X every day, right? So I make sure that my app is updated all the time. Like, whenever I wake up, I check.
Make sure it's updated. I check every day for updates.
I'm looking at a video Ian posted about an hour ago of the dude dancing around with a knife.
Yeah.
Is this guy retarded?
Yeah, he's cultural in Northern England.
Oh my god. This is the guy who gives
I don't really understand the context of it, but yeah. My understanding, the context of that video is the guy's literally threatening people, and that's why he's doing that dance with a knife. Yeah, he's like threatening native British people.
If he keeps doing that with a knife like that, like he's moving his hands backwards and forwards, he's gonna literally stab himself in the hand. Like,
I hope so.
I've played around a lot with knives. You're gonna fucking slam shit up, dude. Like, that's
what the fuck is he doing? Oh my god, he's just playing.
I mean, not to kind of like educate domestic terrorists or anything. I'm just saying, like.
Okay, so my favorite thing when I watch videos where a guy's carrying a machete is they always scrape it on the ground to threaten people. That's hilarious, They scrape it on the ground because, like, maybe they watch Planet of the Apes or something where the apes do it, and it's like, oh my god, why are you doing this?
It's the thing. They always do that. Like, even in the Congo and shit, they do that same stuff as well. Try to intimidate people.
God.
Sometimes it works. I mean, fuck.
There is it's scary as hell, but, there's a video of a police officer, I think it's in maybe China, where some guy was doing that with a machete, like some foreigner was doing it, and then he got tackled immediately. The cops just jumped on him. They didn't care. They're like, yeah, let's scrape the ground. That's all
similar, where like they slapped it on the ground and then somebody ran this bitch over with a car. Like,
nice. Don't fuck with Chinese cops. They know judo.
Oh yeah.
their training is really like, I mean, they make British cops at least look really pathetic. American cops don't fuck around. They'll just pull a gun, just shoot you. That works. I mean, if you're part of a good department like NYPD or something, well trained. Not so much if you're from like some small town. I don't think they get that kind of training. Like you can tell who the good, the properly trained cops are. State troopers, pretty well trained. Like Florida state troopers, pretty awesome dudes. New York, NYPD, LAPD. The guys in what's it? Atlanta. Oh yeah, those guys don't fuck around. Also Portland. The thing about Portland cops, right? They know how to do their business. The problem is they have their hands tied behind their backs. So, because the city doesn't like them very much. City's, pro Antifa and all that. But I remember when, before 2020, right? This was like maybe 2016 or something when the city wasn't completely fucked up. There are lots of videos in Portland where the cops were just like, doing their jobs and really good at it too.
Yes, let's do that. Yeah,
I mean, one of the biggest problems is when
works for me.
you have like movements where say defund the police, and then there's like this natural animosity that's being drummed up against police, and that causes a lot of problems because it goes both ways. If there's like a person and you're doing your job, and then you're just pulling them over, and immediately someone is starting to rattle off a whole bunch of bullshit, and you're like, I don't even know what you're trying to do here, but I'm giving you a speeding ticket because you went 20 over. Like, you can contest it like after the fact. You don't contest it with me. I'm not the judge or executioner. I can't deal with any of that shit. Okay. And then that was getting placed on the cop over and over again. Then eventually, bro snaps. Like that's kind of what that looks like. And Germany's a shit show. It's like you have Germany's different, where like you have police. They do their job, of course. There's sometimes they do weird things, like they enforce stuff improperly. Like, oh hey, we found this little Victorinox, which is Swiss Army knife, by the way. Swiss Army knives are called Victorinox. It's a company that manufactures them, the OG ones. You have a little Victorinox blade in your handbag. It's an elderly woman. There's a little Victorinox blade in her handbag. That guy gets enforced against, but keeping the barriers up before a dude plows into that same market.
Like I remember that. Yeah, it was the same market where they were searching people's handbags for knives, and they arrested some old lady.
I couldn't believe it. Like I posted about it. Even though I saw this, I was like, "What the fuck? That's insane." That same fucking police, dude.
Yep. Same place, same Christmas market. Yep. They arrested some old lady who had a Victorinox knife in her handbag.
And then fucking knife. They just took her fucking knife, dude, because it's like dangerous apparently. What? It's an old lady with the fucking Victorinox. Like, you're gonna fucking stab someone, you're gonna die before you can get the thing unhinged. Like, bro, what are you talking about? How does that happen to anyone?
And then 2 days later,
when terrorist happens, barrels to everyone. That's that.
Yeah. And you know what's the most fucked up thing is no one's talking about it. We are talking about it, but nobody else is. And the German media has completely ignored it, pretending it doesn't happen. And then you have these fucking leftists out there every single night now, talking about how refugees are welcome, and they're speaking in English, which is really interesting. I find that very interesting. The fact that they're speaking in English, right? They're all chanting in English, like "Hey ho, what, refugees are here to stay" or some bullshit. I don't know their exact chant, but you get the gist. And it's like, you realize a child was just stabbed to death, and weeks before, a bunch of people run over, and you guys are talking about how refugees are welcome here, and you have tens of thousands of you out there. What is wrong with you?
And it's funny because like when it came to that,
You should just join the Clubhouse room, Hillary.
Time when COVID happened,
Then we can do live commentary on Clubhouse.
Like, oh no protests. Yeah.
I can't do it through my phone because I record the hard copy.
Like fucking climate change and their failed understanding of it. It's like, bruh. By the way, I'm not one of those people who say that it doesn't exist. I in fact do say it exists, and I highly agree with the fact that it does. I just think that the assertion that humans are the ones that are causing the climate to change in the way that it has been defined is fundamentally incorrect. And that the notion that our temperatures are fluctuating as much as they are because of this human intervention is an absolute hogwash and is actually more explainable when it comes to the natural cycle of the Earth that it just goes through. We're going to actually see temperature go up a lot more. Actually, not even that much more, and then eventually collapse again. This has happened.
Yeah, there's a middle warming period, a little ice age.
Mini ice age.
This stuff has happened before. It's cyclical, right? And not only that, I mean, there's the change in geography. People seem to forget about that part. They forget that, like, why are there fires in certain parts of Australia or Los Angeles, right? Well, pretty simple, because they don't have fire breaks. That's kind of a big deal. You didn't have fires 10 years ago because they allowed fire breaks back then, and then environmental protocols came in, and they're like, yeah, no more fire breaks.
And they had controlled burning. They used to do controlled burns, and then they realized, oh wow, we have to stop it because otherwise the forest burns too much. Now the forest burns anyways and causes property damage. Before it burnt a little bit, not all the way to the ground, and there was no property damage. This time, it burnt all the way to the ground, completely got decimated, and burnt everything to the ground. It was all so, goddamn, son.
Yeah. And also there's the arsonist problem, which not a lot of people are willing to talk about because it'll get reported.
This is the X room, Hillary Chicken.
5 people or 10 people have been arrested.
Yeah, you had a bunch of crackheads that were setting fire to random shit. Like, at least the citizens, I mean, good on them. They fucking stood up for themselves and, like, stopped the fucking people from committing this act. But, like, damn, dude. Incredible.
Fucking, remember the fires that were happening all across the Pacific Northwest a couple of years ago?
Yep.
And all the way to Canada, right? And if you look at what actually happened, like, afterwards, they arrested a bunch of arsonists. There were a bunch of environmental activists who were setting fires. That was what was happening. The same thing in Australia, where the bushfires a few years ago ravaged the, Sydney or something. Those were arsonists. They're the ones setting the fires. And a lot of them happen to be climate activists. Like ELF, for example, the Environmental Liberation Front in the U.S., they are, pretty much responsible. Like, before they used to spike trees, right, with like blades and stuff and rivets, so that way, people would get hurt when they're cutting down the trees. And now they're setting fires. And these guys are, they all need to be arrested, and for a while, they were. And, Biden comes in and he actually puts like their fucking members there in part of as part of the Department of the Interior. It's like, oh, great, so you literally have these fucking terrorists working for you. That's cool. But again, that's not something the media likes to talk about.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, hey, we have this amazing solution. Oh, nice, yeah. We have this amazing solution that's called, you got the electric car, right? That's being manufactured completely in line with what these, climate activists would actually want, right? They'd want for a transition to sustainable energy to occur. And I think that if customers, were to buy vehicles that actually work, like a Tesla is actually pretty good, then the demand for energies such as those, like just electrical energy sourced renewably or via nuclear, would go up. And that's good. That's a very good thing. It's a great sign. No, what they're going to do is they're going to target the gigafactory specifically and burn down the power supply. And because you're already worthless to the fucking economy and society at large, you organize as an entire army to then march on a place where people are actually working just because you're idiots. You're nothing. You're not special. You're just a bunch of clueless people who don't understand how the world works. thinking that you are contributing to some sort of great cause by damaging someone else's property and putting people, actual people who work hard for their living, because you don't get to live off of the benefits that other people are generating for you, lazy fucks. You're living off the sort of benefits. You don't understand what you don't understand nothing. These people you're not putting out of a job. Congrats. You're peak
Sabotage factories too. Like in the UK, they sabotage factories.
You know how controversial this is? I will never be any kind of presence in Germany because of what I just said. Because it's such a controversial term. Like it's such a controversial thing to actually talk about that you just get cancelled if you try to discuss this in Germany.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
So,
I get to talk about
Adrian,
it because it's a big issue. I see it, and I think people should be very well aware of it. And I think people should get used to calling these people what they are. Absolute fucking idiots. And I would hope there would be actual enforcement of law to the point that these people don't see fucking daylight again for the next 20 years if they pull a ratchet like this. Because what the fuck is wrong with these people?
It's the same thing as just stop oil people. They go to
Same shit. You fucking put yourself to the road, off the road, 20 years jail, put you to work in there.
Yeah.
They're gonna stop. Instantly, that shit's never gonna happen. You wanna have
I hate the ones who
energy?
face
Go to work.
museums.
Do you
Yeah. They go to a museum, destroy the paintings, scratch it up, throw paint on it, and then what does the security do? They just watch them. They let the media be there, taking photos of them, doing their fucking press coverage. Like, are you kidding? Just arrest them. How hard is it? Like, you wouldn't let anybody else do it. Why the fuck do these guys get special privileges where they walk behind a Van Gogh or something, or in
It's
front of it,
Spain.
and then glue themselves to it?
Spain did proper signaling there, I think, in my opinion, when they had that thing happen. Remember that clip that came out from Spain?
No. Can you refresh my memory?
This is go look it up. The Stop Oil Spain clip. It's very controversial. That one.
I know that clip, yeah.
Yeah, that was a proper signal. When it deterred any Stop Oil protests being at all present in places like Spain because of this.
I'm gonna look it up.
Adrian, I don't know if you have heard about this, but
It's counter signaling, you see.
mainstream.
When one party virtue signals so hard with the attempt of gaslighting the unswayed mind, you have to counter signal as well. Albeit, of course, at some personal cost, of course.
Did you see that last year they defaced the Stonehenge?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember that. They don't really deface it as much. What they did was they took colors and such that they could wash off easily. Because if they didn't damage the lichen, they damaged the fucking lichen on it. Yeah, that would be the only downside. The lichen was a bit damaged. I don't think it was that bad. Like, honestly, I'm not sure what the lichen really contributed there as much. I mean, perhaps something to the stability. I don't know. But that was like the only damage that was actually caused.
Oh, you mean in Spain as in like the floods, right? That's what you're talking about?
No.
Are you talking about the flooding?
There's a video clip. No, here.
Yeah, send it to me. I love how Spain bragged about getting rid of all its dams. That was really smart.
I forgot what the clip was. It's been buried recently. It's fucking...
Right, who needs hydropower?
Hydropower is pretty
It
good.
is.
That's awesome, man. I mean, who needs stopping your cities and getting flooded and killing thousands of people? I mean, who cares
It's
about
so
that?
stupid.
Right?
Like, hey, make the rivers... That whole thing, the floods, by the way, that has nothing to do with climate change whatsoever. It's complete hogwash. What it has to do with is the fact that they destroyed the Roman aqueducts because they said that the rivers should flow freely. Good idea.
Why
should places where there is places where there's now settlement, right? The trenches of the valley. That used to be where the rivers would go along. So if you were to say, let the rivers flow freely, if you were to then take away the aqueducts that prevent the rivers from flowing there, doesn't that mean that all the infrastructure that's been built there is then become a river?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's just bureaucratic, nonsensical waste of fucking space thought, hey, we're gonna overlook this very obvious geological blunder and just give him the approval. Which fucking idiot overlooked this? I would love to know.
And the way rivers work, like they carve down from wide to narrow and they create a floodplain. And then people who are idiots build on those floodplains. And when you get like 100-year flood or even a 50-year flood, like you lose a lot of the infrastructure that you've built on that area. Like I've seen farms totally fucking flattened and destroyed, and they had to retill the land and everything from a 100-year flood. I mean, it wiped out so many bridges and like literally stop signs like buried with water, just like crazy stuff. Whole towns like partially underwater. And the only way to prevent that is to control where the rivers go, to manage floodplains, and to not fuck